Okay, where were we? I realise it's been about a month or so since my last video. I have many excuses, none of which are relevant. Lots of things, just life just gets in the way. You guys know how it is. It's very difficult to produce these videos because it does require a lot of editing and various things like that. But there's been lots of things going on at this end, none of which I wish to bore you with. So, what are we going to talk about today? So, one of the things I want to mention after I produced the backhand topspin video was that I had a couple of people mention to me, you know, it's a great video, but how do I cope with a backspin ball? So when, you know, how do I play a backhand against backspin? So we're going to get into that today. Future videos I'm going to be covering are the forehand topspin and the forehand topspin against backspin as well. So, but for today, we're just going to focus on the backhand against backspin. So, without further ado, no more wasting time, let's get into it. I would also just like to draw your attention to my new shirts, which I have recently printed. If you ever see me out playing and, you know, a bit shy about coming up and just having a word, don't be. I'm very friendly, sometimes a little bit too talkative, as you might have noticed on these videos, but yeah, I had these t-shirts printed by a good friend of mine, Paulina. Her company is Your Tea. I'll post the link in the description so you can yourselves buy some shirts. These are very lightweight. I've had my name printed on the back. If ever you have a tournament, it's always helpful to have your name so that organisers and that can find you, even people who don't know you. I had some livery put on, so Ping-Pong playbook on the bottom. Please subscribe to my channel, and again, yes, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure that you do. You'll miss out if you don't. And my company name here, I do IT consultancy, so if you know of any jobs or you yourself need any IT consultancy, please do get in touch. So yeah, I'll post the link in the description. I had, you know, I really like the yellow one, it's brilliant. This is the pink one, and there's a purple one as well. Paulina does all different types of designs and things, so you don't have to have this design. I'm sure you can have any other design. She will work with you to get something that you like. So you'll be seeing a lot more of these, but like I say, if you see me out at a tournament and, you know, you wish to have a chat, very friendly, come and have a word. I'm always up for talking about table tennis, and if I can help you in any which way I can, you know, just have a word. So brilliant, perfect, thank you, and on with the show.
So not wanting to recreate too many different clips here, I'm going to reuse a clip from previous video for the foot position. The only thing which is different than the information given here is that in order to get lower and bend your legs, your feet will be further apart. So just bear that in mind. So in this left hand image, you'll see the normal foot position for the backhand drive going cross court, and in the right hand image you'll see that the left foot is slightly further back, still going cross court. The reason is that the stroke is now longer, or needs to be longer. So I'm going to show you another two now. This is for going down the line. So the left hand image here again is the normal foot position for, say, a backhand drive, which is a shorter stroke. And the image on the right is for a backhand topspin down the line. So you can see that the left foot is slightly further back than it would be normally.
So let's take a very brief look at the stroke. So what we want is a slightly wider stance, and we're going to take the racket down between our knees here, and we're looking to bring it up and finish here. So ball comes, hits the table, we're fully down, bat is between our knees, and then as the ball's bounced, we now, as the ball is on the rise, we want to come up and we want to finish there. So here, there, nice and simple. It's also angled from this side, again here, and then we're coming up and behind the back of the ball. So let's talk very briefly about bat angles. Now, if you're playing a topspin ball, the ball will want to crawl up the rubber. So you would obviously be closing the bat so that when you make contact, that ball will stay low and go over the net. Now, this ball wants to run down. So again, if we have a flat racket, the ball wants to run down. Now, we want to be able to counteract this running down effect of the ball. So we need to brush up the back of the ball, and we're looking for a more vertical contact. So there's the bat, the ball wants to run down. So in order to counteract that, we have to impart our forward motion, but we want to impart our topspin to counteract the backspin. The backspin is effectively spinning the same way. So we either want maybe a slightly open racket and come up the back of the ball. It does depend on how much spins on the ball. So if you're closing the racket a little bit and the ball is going still into the net, try and open it further, and then maybe a bit more open, and eventually as you spin that ball, the ball will get higher and higher and higher and will go over the net, hopefully. That's the idea. So work on that, but essentially you want more of a flat, vertical blade, and you're coming up the back of the ball. So let's talk about timing the ball. Now, we've talked in other videos about when we're playing against topspin, they say to take it at peak of bounce. Now, when you're playing a backspin ball, you will notice this on certain videos, and if you search for them on YouTube, you can see them, that the ball will, when it leaves the opponent's racket, it will slow down as they make contact with the ball, and then it will speed up, and it will speed up significantly. As it leaves their bat, it will speed up and speed up and speed up. And as it travels across the net, when it gets to approximately, halfway over your side, it might have the maximum amount of spin that's on the ball. Now that would be either whether it's topspin or backspin, it doesn't matter. Now, when this ball touches a surface, friction gets involved. So as that ball touches this table, it will lose its spin. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of physicists and people, very, very smart people, that say, it loses inertia and all the rest of it and stuff like that. But all we're interested in is spin. So this ball, as it hits that table, friction will take it over, and for a split second or for milliseconds, that ball will slow down the amount of revolutions of spin that it has on the ball. Now, what I try to say to students is, as that ball hits that table, you have a period of time before that spin will increase again. So as it leaves that friction surface, the spin will pick up again, and it will start to increase in speed, because it already has that effective inertia, that amount of spin which has been generated onto the ball. Now, the friction at the table will reduce that slightly over distance, but once it hits that table, the spin will momentarily stop. So you have a window to connect with that ball and make your shot much easier. So what I say is, I say to my students to hunt the bounce. So if the ball is going to bounce here, I say to my students, try and get it at or before it bounces. It's so difficult to do, it's almost impossible. So if you try and hit the ball too late, so if the ball's bounced here and you're quite far away, so if I try and get that to stay, it's not going to stay, but anyway, imagine that's where the ball bounced. If I'm back here, that ball's going to pick up spin again before I make contact here. So in order to get some confidence early on, try to close the distance between where you make contact and where the ball bounces. So if the ball bounces shallower on the table or nearer the net, you need to be here again, and just try and maintain this distance for where you make contact with that ball. So you have this little window of opportunity to apply topspin to a backspinning ball, and that makes it so much easier to do. If you're taking the ball, even with a forehand, I've not got much room here, but if you're taking the ball very late, then you have to lift as much as you can. Same thing would be true on the backhand, which is why you'll see professionals elect to push perhaps a longer ball, and they'll try and stay close to the table. And that's not always too tricky to do against a defender, because defensive players do play slower. The ball does come, the frequency of shots rather is usually slower, so you'll find that players are rather than, so the frequency of shots from a defender will be less. So you do have that ability of being able to stay close to the table. So just try and remember that window of opportunity from when the ball bounces to when you make contact. Try and, if you're struggling to lift the ball over the table, try to decrease that, decrease the time from when the ball bounces to when you make your shot. Be careful of the corner and the edge of the table. I don't want to hear horror stories. I myself caught my wrist many years ago. I ripped it open on a brand new table, so the corner was extremely sharp. So I wouldn't want anyone to injure themselves in that score, but it's a really good tip, and yeah, I employ it a lot, as much as I can. So there's your timing. So one more thing about the timing I want to just discuss with you, because I want to make this absolutely clear. Obviously the earlier you take it, the better, but if you can take that ball as it's on the rise, so if this is where it's bounced and this is the peak of its bounce, really anywhere between my forefinger here and the ball here is okay. Obviously the earlier you take it, the less spin is on the ball, but if you get that ball on the rise, so that's between your period of window is between here and here, okay? That's your window of opportunity. Anything later than that, after, is too late. That's more difficult. Not impossible, but it is more difficult. So we've kind of covered this with other things that we've said in various different parts of this video, but we're going to cover it anyway, which is the use of the legs. Now, in table tennis, the use of the legs is so very, very important, but more so when you're trying to overcome backspin. So again, we've mentioned that we need to be low, so our legs need to be bent and we need to be close to the ball, or at least our head's close to the ball. It's no good being leaning back. So our legs need to be very much bent. I'm going to move back so hopefully you can see a little bit more. But so from here, I'm looking to be down and I want to raise. So, and I always say about the cacao. So the ca being as it hits the table and the cow being when we make contact. So the timing for this will be, you know, as we've done before. So we want to reduce that timing, so it's cow, 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 cow. So we're hitting it on the rise. So it's not cow, 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 cow. So it's cow, 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 cow. So we're getting it on the rise. So if we're using the legs, we need to be here. So as the ball hits the table, we need to be fully down. So here, so that's hit, we're fully down. And then as soon as that hits the table, we're hunting that bounce. We're looking for that ball on the rise. Okay, so here, contact, here, contact. And we're coming up with the legs. So we're lifting that ball, okay? Now, be careful not to throw your body back. So you're leaning back and then again you're floundering. So keep your weight just slightly forwards. Bring the legs down, the arm between the legs, and then we're looking for a nice comfortable finish. So again from the side if we can. So here, so down, ball bounced, and we're up. There, and we're up. Okay. It's a very intensive stroke, and if you're pinned on that backhand and you are top spinning, your thighs will burn like hell after this. And movement is so very important. So what I would again recommend is we get some electrical tape, but we'll go over that in the next section as well. So again, use of the legs. It's important at this early stage for you to build up strength in your legs. You can obviously go to the gym. Lots of people can't do that. You can do this with or without a table. You don't need to have a full table set up like I do here. Very easy. You can get 3 rocks and put them on the floor, and then another rock wherever you want to, you know, whether it's cross court or in the down the line. And what we want to be able to do is, again, like we did for our other backhand videos, we want to get our hip in line with this piece of tape, again here and again here, so that we're getting into this position of moving and playing our strokes. Now the same thing is true for against backspin, but obviously we're going to need a lot more effort from the legs. So if I can try and demonstrate this, it doesn't look like a great deal of movement, but if you can get this at this stage, larger movements later will be so much easier. So you'll be able to jump from this piece of tape all the way over to, say, another that's over here. Try and use gravity to help you. So as you move, so for example, if I was to move from this piece of tape to this piece of tape, I don't want to be sort of moving, going down, playing the stroke, moving and going down and playing the stroke. What I want to be able to do is I want to, as I jump across, let gravity take my body weight down. So here as I go, so there, I'm down, play my stroke, move and let gravity take over. So here, down, play, down, play, down, play, down, play. So you can do this without a partner, you don't need a partner, but believe you me, if you do this for 60 to 120 seconds, that's 2 minutes, you should be very, very tired doing this. And build it up from 60 seconds to 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and then you can train and train and train. And believe me, this may well become your favourite shot, certainly one of mine. So, I'm out of breath. Well, you've done it for 10 seconds. I'm so unfit. Anyway, good luck with it. I'm sure you'll get to grips with it. I say, get yourself some nice electrical tape. Make sure the people at your club don't shout at you for sticking it down. It shouldn't leave any marks, but yeah, it's a great little tool. But like I say, you can use rocks, you can use anything, you can use balls. So go out in your garden and practice, okay? But it does require a lot of effort from the legs, from the body in general. But, you know, table tennis wasn't made to be easy. So, okay, let's move on. So your starting position for the backhand loop or topspin against a backspin ball. So for normal would be here, but we need to be lower for against a backspin ball. So we need to be effectively here. So this is right by my knee, and this is where I want to be starting the ball. So again, it's still coming from the sort of hip area. You can see directly below my hip there is where the bat would be in line with. So there, you can see that's where my hip is. So the bat is directly below where I say it should be. And from here, we want to come up. And like I said before, we come up with the elbow and the shoulder through. I'll show you the finishing position, but here is where you want to start. And we'll move on to the finishing position in a moment. So let's talk about our finishing position. So we talked about where our start position should be. So again, in line with our hip and down past our knee here. And we want to be able to bring this up in a vertical way, and we want to turn here. So as we make contact with the ball here, this is our finishing position. So from here, we're coming up, and what we're not doing is bringing the racket just here. We are coming up with it. So we have to have this sort of the old lawnmower style lift to the ball. So here, and we're looking for finishing position here. So down, and use the legs to help you lift the ball. So the ball's going to stay low. So near the table, it's probably going to stay about here. And we want to be making contact as early as we can. So that's our finishing position. Here, remember to use the legs. Let's carry on. So what about your upper body? How does that impact? What do you do in terms of playing your shot? Do you stay like this, or do you lean over the ball more? It all depends really on how you're built. Some people have very long legs, very short torsos. Other people have longer torsos and shorter legs. But for me personally, I'm about what, 5'9", 5'9.5". The half's important, don't let anyone tell you different. Anyway, so what we want to do, what I try to do, is I try to get my head closer to the ball. So I will quite often face my torso, my chest down towards the floor, and I'm looking to effectively watch that ball as it's hitting the bounce and coming up, and I'm lifting that ball as much as I can, so I'm coming upwards to make contact. So work with that a little bit, but what you don't want to be is you don't want to be upright here, because by the time you make contact you'll be leaning back. That makes playing next shots more difficult. So you want whichever angle that your body's at, you want to be finishing so you're in a position to be able to play your next strokes, not too far back and not too far forward. If you're here, then it impacts being able to play your next spin shot. So what kind of common mistakes do we usually run into with the backhand against backspin? So number one, it's usually about the racket angle. So someone's trying to close the racket and you'll find that the ball is going into your side of the table quite a lot, or it's going into the bottom of the net or the net in general. So if that's happening, take a look at your racket angle, and if it's too closed, then maybe open it up a bit and try and lift the ball over the net. The second most common mistake is the body angle. So where you find yourself leaning back in order to open that racket up higher, so to lift the ball across. I see that quite a lot as well. So be careful there. So what you're looking for is you need to get your legs bent. So if your legs are straight and you're having to compensate by lifting the bat really high or something such as that to try and open that racket angle, look into that. So we'll look into the demonstration stroke as I'll play it in a minute. But yeah, that's the second most common thing. And the third most common problem is that the timing. So you're not catching that ball on the rise. So ways to really improve this are to work with the angles that you have on the table. So the center line, I mean, let's face it, in singles, why the hell is there a centre line anyway? And in the T2 edition, it's been completely removed. It's there, so let's use it. So if you have an opponent that's on the other side of the table, then use the centre line, and your opponent can sit in a chair quite low down and can just feed backspin balls to you down the centre line. So if you know where that ball is going to be coming down the centre line, then you can get your body directly in position, you can get down and you can play that ball rather than you having it jump around everywhere. So providing that you can get your body in position, and all you have to do is, if the ball's bouncing here and there's the peak of bounce, yeah, then you know that you have to catch it somewhere in this space, this timing here. So if it's back here, that's going to be more difficult. But if it's being played down the centre line between here and here, you only need to find it somewhere along this line, which is much easier. So rather than have them playing all over the place, and I'm the same, I complain to my controllers, oh, why is it here, there and everywhere, I'm struggling with, no one's perfect, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, everybody, including professionals, are not perfect. It's fun to see them make the same mistakes that we do. Now, but if you can cut out some of the errors, so you can literally sit in a chair, so just sit down and just get a bucket of balls between your knees and just chop balls down the centre line to someone, they can get their timing better and better and better. And that's the only real way to improve. So thanks again for stopping by. Hopefully you got something out of this lesson. And if you're not already a subscriber, please remember, click the subscribe button, give the video a like, and please do make a comment, positive or negative. It's just nice to know what people think. If there's any ways in which I can improve, obviously one way in which I would absolutely like to improve is to not have as many life dramas as I've had over the past 1 month. So hopefully I'll try and get back into a rhythm of producing these videos, and we can help to grow this community. So look forward to seeing you on our next video, and I wish you a good evening. I'm Graham, this is the Ping Pong Playbook, and thanks again for stopping by. Good night.